All right, good evening, everyone. This is Mr. Tracy coming to you with the first round table. Tonight we've got George Falcone, we've got Razor, and we've got Rocky joining us tonight. Just wanted to give a brief intro. I will, at the end of this video, I'll save everything below my Telegram page, my YouTube page, my Rumble page, and I'll give these guys an opportunity at the end of the video to share their places where you can find them. We are going to just do a roundtable tonight just to talk about current events amongst fellow patriots. We have some subjects tonight that we all kind of wanted to talk about. Anybody want to kick it off? I think the big elephant in the room today is the funeral, of course. Does anybody have any insight on that? What happened today?
Just also a lead in, if I could add on to that,
Go ahead.
we are in an amazing time in human history. Everything we've been talking about for years, right? For years is all coming together. I mean, literally, it's all coming together right now, right in front of us. I mean, it is absolutely incredible to see. And I think that this is a group that not only can help prepare people for what's coming, but we're going to have to hold hands through this transition and have a place for people to go to ask questions. They're going to be confused. So many are going to be confused and not understanding what's going on. All right. The people who the veil have been lifted from us, and we will have the resources to reach out and help people through this. And I think that's going to be a huge part of our contribution going forward to humanity, not just the monetary part, but the humanitarian part of this reaching out and helping people not to panic, not to, freak out, and we can help them understand what's going on. So here we are, the day of the funeral. Who wants to talk about the funeral?
Wow. The only thing I want to say, I didn't watch any of it. I was at work, but I seen somebody post on Telegram, this lady, I know you guys probably all seen it, the blonde-headed lady standing beside Charles, and they zoomed in on her neck and you could see the little crease there on her neck. Who was that lady, or the supposed lady? I don't know. I don't know who she was, but under the mask, I have no clue who it was.
I don't remember what I seen that too. And then you seen the pomp and circumstance with the procession, the goat out in front.
Yeah.
That was very significant. The license plate on the hearse.
Yes.
The wrinkled flag.
Right.
The wrinkled flag is huge. That was Bush's flag, right?
I did see a thing where what was it? Some news place where she slipped and was saying that she's been laying in what they call it for 4 years.
Yes, I heard that. I heard a news channel kind of bleep that out.
Freudian slip kind of thing.
Yes, I did hear that.
Wow.
We got another guy on the call with us. You want to introduce yourself? I don't think I've ever met you.
This is Paulo. This is our friend Paulo. He is in on inner circle with the iTerra device.
Okay.
And also might be able to offer some. Paulo, you're muted, bud. So I invited him on to just listen in and take the ride with us tonight. So welcome, Paulo.
Good to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, so the funeral was interesting. I'll have to go back and watch some of the highlights. I don't really care to watch the funeral, but
now I had heard one thing to look for at the funeral was what world leaders were there and which ones weren't. That would be a telling sign as to who is with us and who is against us. Did anybody make any observations on that? I didn't get to see the funeral. I've been working all day.
Yeah. I mean,
I did not, but however, I did hear from somebody messaged me and said they think that they saw Paul Walker.
wow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know about that, but can I just bring something up?
Sure.
So I'm in contact with some people that get me going, and I'll get a call and say, do you have your work done? And this is over and beyond the terrorist freaking killing. And it was last week, I was told, you have to get this done. You have to get this done. And on Wednesday, I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't have my work done, what if the holdup is because I don't have my work done. I stayed up until 4 a.m. and the next morning I got a message from a friend of mine in England and was taking pictures of the family gathering. So it was kind of eerie, but I was contacted and told that this is going to be a big week, get everything prepared, everything. So
Yeah. I've heard that too.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you follow Bo Holt, he puts together a very, very good case biblically for the 24th, right? Coming up September 24th, the Shemitah, the end of the 50-year Jubilee, the end of the 70-year reign. I mean, all of it comes together, a full moon cycle that is unusual. It's all coming together on the 24th, according to the Jewish calendar. What do you guys say about that?
Well, the 24th is what, Saturday?
Saturday.
So
And
we'll
we
see.
have a world leader on record, a European Union leader. I don't even know who it was. I just saw the video of it 2 days ago, on record saying, you will remember where you were on the 24th. Something huge is going to happen. And I don't think he's a good guy. So, we need to be ready. Like
Right.
Rocky says, be ready.
Which in the Julian calendar is September 11th.
Exactly.
So,
Mhm.
And I've been chasing this thing for a couple years now, and it's like, okay, bring it on. A lot of people.
Oh, it's what we've been waiting for.
A lot of people chasing their tails. A lot of people panicking. You got your projects written up and you got it together? It's like, no, I don't. God will move me at the moment that I need to jot it down. It doesn't have to be all as involved as everybody's thinking it is. Some people got a damn encyclopedia for
Right.
what's supposed to be an 8-minute presentation, 2 or 3 page document with a bio and some bullet points, and you know what? At the end of the day, if they don't like what I got, I'll take the default rate and I'll go do stuff anyway.
Well, it's not what they don't like what you have. It is they'll be able to discern if you're good.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and that's where I've been putting most of my focus in my
Yeah.
frequency and
Yeah.
all that. So when I walk in, all these people who can see auras and everything else, I would like to see them put sunglasses on when I walk in the room. I don't, I'm not, if I'm just being facetious, but they should, and if they've got a problem with me for whatever, it's like I'll still go do what I'm gonna do, and I've been doing it for years anyway with whatever I have available to me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
They'll be able to tell that. And when you go into the appointment, you just want to make sure that you have the information, what you have, what you want to ask for. If you're doing the Zim, say for the projects, you don't have to sit there at $26. If that's the rate, if you have a project and they know who you are, you can ask for more. Like the suggestions that I would have though is if you are going to do not let people know what you have. Obviously not. Make sure that you have a trust set up. Do you have to have an EIN? I don't know. For a trust maybe, but you don't have to have all this stuff that everybody's saying that you have to have it dividers and everything.
If it's on the blockchain, then there would be a record of everything anyway, correct?
They'll set you up a skeleton trust there.
Mhm.
First off, I don't have I printed out one of these free ones off Rocket Lawyer, for what that's worth, but I'll sit down with somebody and they can set me up a skeleton trust there, and then I'll have money to go out and find me somebody to do all the more intricate stuff of LLCs and trusts and whatever else I need. But at the end of the day, it'll all get done, and God will guide all that. I just I stumbled across a post just to give you how somebody that's been on my Facebook page, another Christian biker and everything, name to be withheld, but there was this podcast, and the big thing he posted is this girl was raised when she was little in the occult, and was being groomed to go to the hierarchy of Satanism and everything else, but she chose to give her life to Christ. And she's talking, I'm listening to her, but she's saying that she's talking as if she knows nothing about the QFS, because she had it on the other side of the fence. It wasn't good. Christ consciousness, she was downplaying that terminology, everything else. And it's like, I'm like thinking to myself, dude, it wasn't hard for me to Google and look up, because all I had to do is put in her name and put in false witness. And there's other people who have done more research on her that, yeah, basically she's a plant, and there's lots of them out there. There's a lot of preachers out there. I do the same thing. I just type in their name, put false teacher, false prophet, false witness, whatever. And either something comes up or it don't. Okay. And I always look to see if it's just somebody with an axe to grind against that person, but either that or they preached on the subject. So it's all about keywords, but generally I can vet them out real quick without having to spend a lot of time trying to chase down the rabbit hole. If this guy is a true preacher, a true witness, he's preaching the truth and everything else. But that's been a quick way of me to figure people out real quick out there. I even vetted my own preacher years ago. Nothing came up except that he's preached on the subject. And the only complaint anyone ever had is because they didn't like that he used the 1984 version of the NIV and wasn't using the King James. I mean, like, okay. Yeah.
No, Razor, I listened to you talk about the church on the last roundtable you did on Mel's channel with Tracy and Gina and her husband. And I mean, man, you nailed it. The sentiment was perfect for me too, because I feel like, I mean, I was in Calvary Circle, still am. I belong to a Calvary Chapel for 22 years, served as an elder there. I felt like they had me in a box the whole time. I was just restless the whole time. And then for the last couple of years now, God has just been revealing things to me, incredible things way outside that box that has freed my mind and freed my spirit to get here. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys right now.
That's part of the veil being lifted.
Yeah.
And it's only going to happen. And I had to answer to the calling of the watchman on the wall. If you know what that is, Ezekiel 33, where I'm tasked with warning people. I didn't like it at first. I fought it at first. I was like, because it would involve me coming to you and saying something that you don't necessarily, you're more importantly, you're not ready to hear, but you don't want to hear. And then right away, it's like, oh, you're being a hater. You're supposed to love, and all the usual rhetorical narratives come back at you. And basically, I have to just say it that it's like, you've been warned. I've done my job. I moved to the next town. I dust off my feet. So that's where I've had to really get my brain around it. Okay, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, then boom, you chose the hardcore to do it. And
just so many things, like the hidden books and the things that have been hidden from the church, and the things that have been given to the church by the evil one to distribute. I mean, it's like, God's using it. He'll flip it all around. He'll save his people, but we are not free to be the spirit that he created us to be.
I did the one Saturday too, but just to reiterate, and this is what God has told me over the past couple of years, is don't sit there and say God created everything, all the universe, the whole everything. And this has been revealed to me years and years ago. Don't be so arrogant to think God only created you as a race, us as a race. He had to have created other things. What they are, I don't know. Are there angels? Yes. Are there bad angels? Say, minions? Yes. And some of the Christian community can correlate that to those are the ETs. But then they can't separate that there are actually good ETs, which would be the good angels, ethereal beings, and all that. So, I mean, they just can't dice it up like I do, I guess. And that's part of my task, is to try to get them to see the pieces of the puzzle and how they fit into the whole picture. You know,
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's always been a something that I kind of, I don't know, maybe late 80s, early 90s. You know, I used to follow a guy, really good teacher. He was a Christian guy, but he actually started doing archaeology digs, looking for things from the Bible. And he decided to kind of hang up he went to seminary school and did the whole thing, but he decided to hang it all up and go do these digs. And he started reading Hebrew and Greek and learning those languages. And he started finding things that was mistranslated. And, you know, I shared it with many people, and they were like, well, you know, the Bible, you can't change it. You can't do this, can't do that, you know, but who's to say who translated it in the beginning anyway? You know, and some of the things he was finding were just, and he was sharing it, and he just decided to hang it all up and go do his alternate route. And he really had some really good teachings. But I followed him for a long time. He passed away in the early 90s, but he's a really good guy.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and,
in the
and
go
I
ahead.
had a brief discussion over a year ago with a buddy of mine. We were talking about all this stuff was about to happen and some of the things that are being said. And you know what? I just made a quote and posted on Facebook. I said, discernment is true discernment is void of being you can't be offended. I'm going to paraphrase, right? And it involves, here, give me a moment. I want to get this one right.
Yeah, Razor, I think you have true discernment. You don't need Google to look somebody up.
Yeah. But this guy
Well,
was
and that's it. This I went and looked this lady up, watched some of her video and everything, and it's like, okay, wow, all right. You know, I started listening to her, and it usually it'll hit me right away, and it's like, and then there's another thing. This guy's been on my page for a lot of years and everything else, and so all I did was I posted the article about her being called out.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, this guy, he talked a lot about God being the creator and us being creatures in his creation. And he always said, you know, we as creatures in his creation, we will never fathom, you know, the bigness and the mightiness of God. You know, because he created everything. He's beyond and above everything that we know in our existence. So
well,
we,
You know, how hard was it for pastors to teach how Israel would become a nation in one day? How could they figure that out? And then now we're coming up on a time, or a place and a time where he's going to make the kings of the world weep and wail, and he's going to strip their wealth, and he's going to do it, take it away from them, and give it to the righteous in one day. He's going to do it in one day. And we can see how that's going to happen, how that might unfold even this week. So it can happen. And this whole thing with the XRP, who has it, who owns it, I believe is spiritual. I mean, we can go tell somebody to buy XRP. I don't think that if they're meant to have it, they're not going to buy it. They won't see the you know, they'll be completely cut off from it. They won't see it. The people whose wealth, who receive this wealth, is going to do God's work going forward to transform. We're going to have a period of immense blessing, right? And immense prosperity before things get really bad. And that's where you see pastors for years, hundreds of years, struggle with teaching Revelation. I believe it's been meddled with by the enemy.
I told a buddy of mine that once, back to when we were discussing about what's going to happen. And he was like, you know, he's just point counterpoint. And, you know, and I said, well, why do you think that? Because in Revelations, so we studied Revelations, and I didn't even skip a beat. I said, you studied what they gave you.
Yeah, exactly. What they gave you. But you see, pastors won't even touch that book, some of them, because they wrestle with it, you know, because it's not in alignment, so to speak.
Yeah, and we've been deceived, so it's not hard to stretch to fathom, but a lot of people are going to struggle with that, you know. And here's my quote I came up with today. True discernment means a total lack of being offended with the emphasis on objectivity.
Mm.
Because if you're going to discern, I can't put myself in one side or the other. Discernment means you're the mediator in the room, so to speak. You're at the table where they're negotiating a contract across between management and labor, or whatever. You got to be that person that has to see through all the bullshit on each
Yeah.
person's side.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, you're no better than a propagandist at that point, because you're just going to try to put your part in. You can express your opinion on it, but then you got to step outside that box and be able to look in and say, okay, and then wait till the verdict. You know, basically, you know, I can be the defense attorney or the prosecutor. It doesn't matter. Basically, even if I'm the judge, so to speak, I don't make the decision. The jury's making the decision. Doesn't matter whether I agree with what the jury came up with or not. It is what it is at that point. I'm just a cog in the wheel, if you will. That's what we are spiritually. We do have to be careful when some of these narratives talk about us being a god or little god or anything else, because there's
Right.
only one God.
Exactly.
We're people say, are you a preacher? Are you you know, I'm a minister, and the definition of minister is servant. It don't get any. If I wanted some fancy name or anything, you know, want to take a title, I'd call myself Reverend Razor Rick.
The Holy Father.
But at the end of the day, people thank me for whatever I've done or anything else. Just don't thank me. Thank God, I'm just a servant.
Yeah.
Boom.
Rocky, when you got that phone call to be
Mhm.
ready, I'm not going to press you on details. I know you're not going to say, but what did that mean to you? What does that mean to you to be ready?
I got shivers. Everybody's gonna be okay. That's what it meant. Everybody's gonna be okay. We're stepping out of this dirt and going on to better land.
Yeah.
And what it meant to me is, oh my goodness. I know Razor and I talked about this before. Paolo and I have talked about this before. The harassment that we have gotten, or, you know, not going to, not being able to go to family events, or I'm just going to bring it up. This terahertz, talking to people. It is not, it is about self-healing, but the people I talk to, there's ladies, you know, 80 years old, sitting in New York when it was, you know, lockdowns, crying, and we're talking for an hour and a half, and they're still messaging me for months. You know, there's people up in Canada that are talking, oh my gosh, you know this? Yes, I do know this. So I really think that we're bringing in people into a community. Yes, this is good. It is good for the device is good for self-healing, detoxification, especially any of that stuff that you can't say. However, I think that we are bringing together people for warriors, because when this starts, there's going to be a lot of cleanup to do. And we are the ones, we're the warriors with the boots on the ground. And we all know, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Really?
I don't know who said it. I don't know who said it, but they said when this thing all goes down, you know, a lot of people are going to be questioning everything. And somebody, I don't know who said it, but they said, if you need information, seek your nearest conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
I got a meme.
like that.
I got a meme that, and I took another picture. It's got a, we'll leave the light on. It's got like a street light. I put that above it. It says, when the world's all falling apart and the government's crumbling around you, go to your nearest conspiracy theorist for further instructions. You know, and that's what it is. And Tracy, I don't know if you noticed this the other night. I don't swear my allegiance to anyone but God.
Yep.
Everybody else is doing a job. Trump's doing a job.
Yep.
But I don't care what his so-called lineage is. Trace is his bloodline's back and everything else. He's not Jesus Christ. He's
Right.
doing a job. And if I really had to get critical and play devil's advocate, I could pick that apart too. But it would be for naught. So
Right.
I don't go there. My job is to keep people on track, keep focused. This is what you need to do to keep in step. You know, just like the tour guide with the flags. Stay with the group. Stay with the group. You know, come on.
Yep.
We're going down here, but I have faith that it's all going to work out. You know, I like I say, I could say, well, you know, it's taking a little too long, but what do I know? I'm not in on the inner workings and everything, but you can be darn sure that if I was in the room, I would be saying something to somebody to interject my thoughts into the whole process. And, you know, and when I spoke, not that my opinion matters more than anybody else, but I would be heard and I would give them another perspective, or maybe they could take something out of my angst, if you will, of what are we doing? Because you can only go so far up and now you're teetering down the other side. You want to bring this up to where you get as many people involved and many people percentage awake, but there's a tipping point, you know, where you go over that and you can only wake up that many people. Now you're starting to lose people who are just getting discouraged for whatever reasons. I'm not saying they have a legitimate reason or it's not going to happen, because like I've told people, what else you got to look at? You know, I'm looking at that light in the corner, the door that's cracked open when we're all standing around in a dark closet. How are we going to get out of here? Well, I see a piece of light. Let's say it's a cave-in. You know, you see those movies. It's like, there's light. Let's go. But other people will want to, oh, that won't be no good. No. And I wrote another quote. It's like that old saying, it's too good to be true. And I said, you'll look at something will come across your lap, across your table. It's too good. No, that's too good to be true. They've had your expectations pre-programmed from the start, because it's never too bad not to be believed.
How often in the Bible did people wait and wait and wait for a blessing, and they waited and waited and gave up hope, and then in an instant it happens, you know? And like you've been waiting for this since September 11th, right? You've been following this since they were supposed to start Nasara Jasara back. I can't say that number, sorry, but you know, and then they diverted it with those planes, right?
Yeah.
Now we look
The
at
supposed planes.
Yeah, so we can see the bigger picture now. With you said Trump is no Christ, but he's a closer picture to King Cyrus, right? In the 70-year reign of slavery that ended under him, and then now we can see how the queen's reign, you know, ended after that 70 years of slavery, and that it wasn't yet God's timing anyway. Nasara Jasara wasn't supposed to happen then, but rather now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's talk about this letter. I think you guys all read it. Maybe somebody shared it from Charlie Ward about the banks. I'm just going to read it real quick. It's very short. It says, "Hey Scott, all of the U.S. banks declared they've went into bankruptcy today." I think this was Friday when he got this. They're trying to buy more time, resisting to go into the new QFS digital in October, but some will collapse. U.S. fiat is completely dead, but the new gold-backed USTN will be announced to bridge the gap between both systems. U.S. Fed opens the door for crypto banks to enter traditional banking systems. What do y'all think about that?
That's infiltration, right? Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, I was just at Chase Bank, deposited 200 fiat dollars so I could turn around as soon as I didn't even walk out. I went on eBay to order my alternator for my truck. So it's like,
That's what we're doing. We're depositing it, paying the bill, and then that's it. Right away.
yeah.
Razor, I haven't heard you talk about the GCR and RV in a while. Do you have any new information or any updates or anything on that?
It's creeping along. I mean, and then now there's this whole weekend thing. The Judy Bidenton one report isn't out over the weekend, which is like kind of withdrawal, because you're used
Right.
to, but there's still the occasional big call in the CMKX and the Iraqi dinar, which I don't watch that little short one because the CMKX is essentially the same thing. It's got a lot of Mark Z stuff in it and some of Nick Fleming's. So, but I always liked the GCRRV one because it was a collection of all of them in one spot. I didn't have to, and a little bit of history. They tell you about who's doing what and what's been going on. So I really get excited when I see there's a real short one, because I think that's the one that's going to have the link in it and everything's going to be, it's going to be go time,
Yeah.
and, but if I had to speak objectively and a devil's advocate, it's like I said earlier, it's a little long in the tooth, but for anybody like me to think that, I always reflect back to the people who thought it was a done deal in 2001, and who am I, basically?
Yeah.
There's other people that have been patient around all this stuff, so I'm just a messenger. I just keep it going, and then I'll send out little stuff to people here and there. I got like 80 to 100 people on text messages and stuff. I used to send stuff out 2 or 3 times a day to every one of them. There was about 60 or 80 then, but I've kind of backed off, and I'll send them a little one every now and then just to refresh their memory. People I've met at a Chipotle, gave him a $20 billion note. Here, I want to change. This might change your life. Just give me your phone number and I'll send you. Just wait for the signal,
Yeah.
and that's it. And there's some people that, don't send them to me anymore. It's good. It's not going to happen. Or, one of my buddies, my former general foreman, he was more irritated. I was sending it to him about 3 a.m. But, but, I did just run across, somebody just dug up, and however they got it, they have a video of the missile hitting the Pentagon, if you haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it, but
I
I've
haven't
heard.
seen it either.
I've heard it.
I put it on Razor's Edge, because I don't muck up the-
Telegram,
Huh?
Telegram, Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
for
short
people to
little
know.
clip. It's way off, and if you were facing the Pentagon from where they say the plane was coming from, it's way off stage right, where the camera angle was down in there, and you see this little white little.
Was it a Tomahawk missile?
They weren't. What'd they say? Scud. They were saying Scud. But
I was watching
no,
videos on that.
It's just a white flash,
Yeah.
I literally years ago on Facebook in the debate of, no videos and everything else, somebody actually tried to prove their point that it was still a plane, but you couldn't see it. This just got too funny. You know how they can do those animated computer generated things with
CGI.
Well, it's not even CGI. It's not even good. It's more cartoony of
Okay.
the guard booth and the
Yeah.
post with the arm and everything. And he was trying to say that the arm for the post and the arm was what was blocking, that you couldn't see the plane. I'm like, dude, I said, first off, if there's a security camera, it's going to be up on the edge of that guard shack, which is going to be 6 to 8 feet off the ground. And you're talking about this 4-foot post at most, is what's basically what the camera's laying on the ground, dude. And you're using this computer generated animated / cockamamie video to try to prove your point. I'm like, you're not even worth my debate, I've gotten into conversations over the years. I used to go, if I'd be at a party and I'd say, all right, I said, who here believes that 2 planes took down World Trade Center 1 and 2? I'd get a bunch of hands. I said, okay, let's set that part of the conversation off to the side. Because, you can go on for forever with that part of it, right? I look at him, I said, what took down World Trade Center 7? You'd see the gears start rolling. I actually had one person, not that they were jumping up to try to debate me on the subject, but I came to this conclusion. They said, there's a building 7.
And did you see the report on the fall of building 7 before it happened? It was like 5 minutes before it fell. She was reporting it fell. That's
the BBC.
Yeah.
Look up Last Man Out, William Rodriguez, the janitor with the master key.
I've seen that.
That tells you a whole bunch.
Yeah, that was good.
I've watched that whole thing, but what I was thinking, it's like, here's a person that potentially was going to step up on stage and engage in a debate on planes, no planes, controlled demolition, who did it and whatever. And they didn't even know that there was a building 7. I said, and it just totally concludes that armed with a little bit of knowledge, people are dangerous, and I will not engage in a battle of wits with an unarmed person. So.
Well, I heard Building 7 is where they housed all the gold, and
No, that was the New York Reserve.
Okay.
And we don't know for sure, but here's the narrative. One of those floors in Building 7 was a FEMA, totally self-contained, had its own separate water supply, electrical supply, could survive on its own. And then some of the theories, mind you, is that's where they orchestrated, whether they're pushing the buttons or, triggering the detonations, whatever. That's basically where they stood and watched the whole thing unfold. Here's an interesting, there's the scripture that they read in the Senate right after that about the fig, we will rebuild, and fig to cedar. A little blip that not many people caught. A piece of the building, when it landed on that church. I'm not sure how far away it was, but it was close enough, I guess. A piece of that good section of that building landed on this little one-room church where George Washington initially dedicated the country to God. And it had fig trees, and then when they fixed it all back up, they redid it with with cedar. Total biblical thing. And basically the parable in scripture is, we got this, we didn't need God's help, we'll rebuild and everything. And that was the totally wrong way to go, but it was just kind of ironic that landed there, took out the cedar tree, and then when they replaced the tree, they replaced it, or fig with cedar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just, wow.
Yeah. Did y'all see the video of Putin with a bird? Did any of y'all see that?
I seen a little blip of it, and I heard some stories about it. What was the name of the bird?
Yeah,
Storm.
so the storm or something like that. So they were at a bird sanctuary, I think. And Putin was talking to these kids, younger kids. And this one girl, she had the bird, a huge bird. I want to say it's like an owl, maybe.
Probably a falcon.
It was a falcon.
Could have been.
It was a falcon.
But she asked him, hey, can I call this bird Storm? And then he said something like, well, hey, this is, we've got some kind of small operation going on in Ukraine called the Storm. And he said, sure. And there's a new guy that is on Rumble. I forget his name and his show name, but I watched a little video he did, and he was talking about it. And he said that was very unusual for a world leader like that to come out and give any kind of military insight like that. Even just the name of that little operation. He said that was pretty.
I think the piece I seen on it is everything's done purposeful. They don't.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked into it, but why Pelosi and them going to Armenia? What's the deal there? And then
Yeah.
all the earthquakes in Taiwan, there are a whole bunch of them right now. I've seen some videos of a train just sitting there rocking
Yeah.
at a station, and all, a bunch of lights in this office just
Do you
flipping.
think it's earthquakes or do you think it's
No,
the
those are
earth,
just, no,
the earth moving from bombs being hit?
10 kilometers down is where the epicenter of anytime it's 10 kilometers or less, if it's like 2, that's probably an entrance, but 10 is the underground tunnel. They don't seem to go any more than that, maybe 12, but if you see it that it's more than that, then that's something else. But typically, because I'm on that earthquake Telegram channel,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing, sometimes I look at it and say, shouldn't they have been done there by now?
Yeah.
But and the one
Mexico just had an earthquake. A bad one.
if they're cleaning up and finishing it, and basically, I have a little bit mixed emotions about that, because some of these tunnels had those maglev trains where you can go to LA to New York in a matter of minutes. Why aren't we saving some of that? Or maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. But the one in Iceland,
Yeah.
the Iceland one, they when they blew it, they let that volcano fill it up with lava. And then the one in Greece, when they blew it, they let the seawater come in, and they say the shoreline dropped 12 inches when the water went down into the tunnels.
Wow.
Like, wow.
So Trump had his big rally Saturday night, and I didn't watch it, but the only thing that I saw today and read and heard people talking about it was this flag he had in the background with the black stars. And I listened to a little bit of kind of this guy's explanation. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about the black stars? I know it has a meaning.
Yeah, that's a calm. The enemy will be given no quarter.
Exactly.
That's a definite calm. And some of the stuff we're talking about for people who are going to see this later and everything else, and especially believers, where you'll go, yeah, the stuff we're talking about happening, the explosions, are they earthquakes, are they underground bases? Yeah, we're not right there, but it comes down to faith. Okay, you believe in God, you can't see him, okay, but you know he's there, and when necessary, he'll let you know he's there. I can equate it because I'm an electrician. I can't see electricity. I have things that I can measure it with. And let me tell you something, if I get a hold of it in the wrong way, it's going to let me know that it is there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the definition of faith, substances unseen and all that. So
Right.
anybody, when you're looking at this stuff, watching these videos that we make, other people make, it should at very least make you go, wow.
There was something significant from the speech that a buddy of mine sent me, and I'm looking for it. I'll try to screen share it, but he took a snapshot because he was watching it, and it said at the bottom, make sure you have an emergency radio or something to that effect. And it's actually, you need it's right here, you need emergency radio. It said federal state agencies. It was like a blurb at the bottom. It's written right under his podium. So that could be significant, because even if you don't believe there's going to be days of darkness, or as Razor will put it, it's days of information or education, disclosure, right? There's going to be, people like Mel don't believe there's going to be a crash, but I don't see how there can be for a time for the emergency broadcast system. Again, I know, Razor, you don't call it that, you call it something else. But there's got to be something that educates the people that still aren't awake during this transition.
Well, I heard they're going to, when the system flips, they're going to go to the Starlink system.
Right.
We're going to have
financial system.
all new internet, all new everything. But I heard that they were going to play like an 8-hour movie over and over and over and over.
Yeah. So how are you going to transition without people knowing what's going on? You can't do it on the fly. I just don't see how that's possible. logistically.
they're gonna seek their nearest conspiracy theorist.
Exactly. But anyway, the emergency radio is going to be there. And I actually shared with them the one I got. So if you're
Yeah.
watching, maybe it's a good idea.
I know just how you do it. You put your black suit on, your dark sunglasses, your hat. You get in your 78 Ford.
Get your little
Strap a big
Get your
speaker
pen
to
out.
the top, and you start driving around the streets saying, "The Blues Brothers tonight at Lake Winnisovaci." You know, okay.
you gotta have the Elvis 8-track tape going though.
Here's how it is. Hey, Paul Revere did it, so it's not beyond the realms of possibilities. Am I worried? Do I have an emergency radio? No. Am I really going to overly worry myself about it? No. If comms go down, I'll go outside. I'll clean my bike, work on my truck, whatever, organize my tools.
Show some leg on the street.
Yeah.
You know, I can go up the road to the firing range, but no, I don't want to waste ammo. But I'll wait, and eventually it'll come back. It'll come back up. You know.
Yeah.
I'll build a staircase up on top of my Connex box so I can have a better
Razor, we all know you will be fine.
Yeah.
And you know, there's no doubt about that. However, the people who need to be, who the normies are going to need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're going to need to watch these things.
I've heard this Signal app is supposed to be good. I don't know. I've got it on my phone. I've never used it, but I heard that was something to
It's
kind of
supposed to be run by the military and off the grid.
Yeah,
kind of
and then there's other stories that it's been compromised. So we
Yeah.
won't know until we have to use it. So, okay, we put all these tools in our toolkit, and Lord willing, certain things will work, and we know we'll come out of this. You know, in one way, shape, or form. I tell people it's like if everything gets going, load up your car, bring your tent and everything, come out here. You know, I got 5 acres. We can pitch a tent, you know, throw a bunch of stuff together. You know, I got friends in Vegas that, you know, they know, at least they should know, and I'll reacquaint them with, get your ass out here, get out of Vegas, because that's not one of the places you want to be.
right.
So
Right.
what we're saying is this, Razor, when this goes down, we're partying at your house.
thing.
Yeah.
Gonna take my spaceship there.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, just get here. You know, this'll be Mad Max Road Warrior compound. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, we got plenty of people around here.
Yeah.
You know, we're all armed. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just, you know, I watch this stuff every day like you guys, and, you know, and sometimes I just sit back and think about all of the stuff that we've been, you know, pulled away from. I mean, they basically broke us away from God, or they've tried to break us away from God. You know, they've taken everything, you know, all of our medicines, our good medicines, our healing things that we have and we've had in the past. They've taken it away. They've silenced this. They've silenced that. They've messed with our money. They've messed with our medical stuff. You know, we should be in med beds at this point. Even the music, you know, they've messed with the hertz in the music.
Yeah.
It's supposedly, you know, healing has healing powers to it. But we all know all this is going to change, and it's just unbelievable how much better we're going to be, in a better position we're going to be in once we do get there. But yeah, I agree with all of you. We are going to have to be teachers and leaders and help with these people and be patient, and you know, just when we get there, we're going to know what to do, and hopefully there's going to be some instructions to help us. But I think for the most part, we're pretty well versed, and we're going to know what to do. Rocky, how do you see all this thing going down?
A lot of people, you know, being worried. I mean, us here, we all know, we're in the know. People that we talk to every day, other than the people that are around, you know, I talk to Razor a lot. He knows, George knows, you know, Paolo knows. It's going to be relaxation for us. How about that? It's going to be time. Yes, exactly. We can sit back and go, okay. But knowing what to do for other people, if there's hysteria, what are we doing? Hopefully God, and he will show us exactly how to help people. I do want to say at some point in time, I want to say, I told you so. However,
It's gonna be really hard to bite our tongues. I know
yeah,
that.
I told you so. You didn't let me go here. You were laughing at me, whatever. But that is not the way to do it. I think
No.
the way to do it is being compassionate and saying, yeah, just sharing love and going, you know what do you want to know? Let's strip this a little bit. What do you want to know? I wanted to bring up, George, you were talking about Israel. Did you guys see that the red heifers, there were some red heifers that were flown over?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not Jewish, but I thought the red heifers had to be grown in Israel. I don't know. I don't know the technicalities, but
There's
Maybe.
a well over a couple of years ago, they already had the red heifers there.
Okay.
They were
They have
reproducing.
everything
Although-
they need. Everything they need for that new temple. Everything, all the preparations, it's all been ready for years. I
And
mean, I
here's-
went there in
here's-
2011, 2005. I was there for my honeymoon. They had it ready then. So
And here's the thing that people tend to miss about the purpose and the rebuilding of the temple. It is for the Antichrist to announce himself. He sits in there. God doesn't go there. I mean, Jesus doesn't show up there. It's for what they perceive to be
Mm.
the false Messiah. Okay, because I'll tell people, it's like, well, if he comes, I said, well, if it's the first guy that's presenting himself saying I'm the Messiah, basically I'm here to fix things and straighten things out. If it's the first guy saying that, Bible says that's not him.
it's the false prophet.
Yeah, the false prophet, the false Messiah,
Yeah.
whatever. But that's from what I've read, and that's the only purpose of rebuilding the temple. So, I mean, but the Jews are rebuilding it because they think Christ is going to come there.
right.
And
Exactly.
basically it's an aha moment. Eventually they build the whole thing, put it back together. They've got the ark is down underneath it, and they've been meticulously putting together all the clothing with the exact materials, the exact same way that it was done all those years ago. The
Mhm.
heifers, and basically you're going to go and sacrifice another animal on that altar. That's what Christ did.
Yeah,
All that
Hebrews
stuff
talks
was
about
supposed
that.
Stuff was supposed to stop. So
Yeah.
why would you think that it's okay to do it again now? It's not. Christ died on the cross. He was the lamb. He was the final sacrifice. And that's how we should look at it, I guess. That's kind of how it's spelled out biblically. But it's still part of the play that has to play out, apparently. I don't know. It's going to be real interesting.
All right. I got to ask the burning question. And I know you guys are going to be like, why did he ask that question? Where do you guys stand on flat earth and round earth? Go around the table. You don't have to give an expose, just what's your take on it? How do you feel about it?
Who wants to go
George?
first?
All right. I studied this in depth for over a year, and I'm convinced we are on a round, flat earth with a firmament above us. We have been contained inside an ice wall, was like a bowl, right? The ice wall you can't get near. The treaty that they signed in 52.
Yeah.
The nations of the earth who fight each other over everything somehow agree on this one treaty that you cannot go past the 60th parallel or they will shoot you. Okay, you can't get near that ice wall. They're hiding something. Okay, Admiral Byrd, all right. Research, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Research Admiral Byrd, all right. There's an ice wall surrounding us. There are extraterrestrials outside the ice wall. Okay, there are civilizations. There's other suns. All right. This has been shown, proven, studied. You can prove there's no curve. I can show you 200 miles of flat earth with no curve.
Yeah.
Okay. 8 inches per mile squared is their math. All their math comes back to 666, some equation. Okay. The NASA, all of it is cabal lies to hide God, keep us in slavery, right? Suppress humanity and hide God. And they've gotten away with it. I think this is going to be part of the disclosure. I'm clear, right? On my belief.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I firmly believe it with all my heart. There's a physical firmament above us. It's spiritual. God spent day 2 creating it, the whole day creating the firmament. Okay. It's a big deal. And they've hidden it all. Next.
How about you, Rocky?
Well, I'll go pass because I haven't studied any of that, and we'll go to Razor.
Oh, come on, Rocky.
Okay,
no
ready
fun.
for this?
Give it to us.
Come on, Razor.
In the Navy,
Well, I'll
in the
say
Navy,
something.
in the Navy, I was an electronics technician.
I think Paulo. I think
Hello.
he was.
Okay, Paulo can
Was
go
Paul
first.
trying to
Yeah,
come
I
in here?
was gonna say I don't fully buy it, but I one thing that gets me, if you supposedly was spinning, the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, 1,000 miles an hour. You can't
So
see anything going that fast.
I look at a cloud, an hour, 2 hours later, it's still in the same spot. So the question is, if it is flat, it could be a disk, and I think everything else is spinning around the Earth.
The Georgia
like I said, I'm not
Guidestones has the North Star before it was destroyed. You can see the North Star through one hole in the Georgia Guidestones all year long. The firmament, the North Pole is in the middle. The South Pole is south from the North Pole in the middle. And then you have the North Star directly over the North Pole. The electromagnetic energy goes up and around and underneath and up and around, and you can see the North Star in the same spot year round. If we're flying through space at spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, hurling through space at 10,000 miles an hour, they tell us, right? Just chaos flying through space, and all the stars remain fixed and turn like a clock. God's clock is turning above us.
I've heard that. I have heard that. All right, Razor, give it to us, Razor.
Yeah.
All right, everybody look at your phones right now. I just shared a picture that I got recently past couple of months on some more compelling concept, if you will, of the shape of the earth. And it kind of incorporates the flat earth piece that they keep presenting as what we're sitting on. Okay. And that would equate into your formula of so many inches per foot and the curvature and all that. What I will tell you is in the Navy, I was an electronics technician. My equipment was radar and navigational gear. Okay. Which means I had surface search, air search radar, and equipment that plotted navigational courses across the Pacific Ocean and back. Okay. Now, flat earthers can try to use the perspective drawing argument with me all day long, and I'll tell them bullshit, because I could go into the Combat Information Center and see on the scope that there was land out there somewhere. Go outside, step on the outside of the ship, couldn't see it. I watched the California coast the night before we finally came back after being gone for 7.5 months, and I watched a glow turn into a larger glow, larger, until I started seeing silhouette of land, because we had to drop the Marines off at Pendleton at about 4 a.m. and then go back down the coast again. So if I had to choose, mind you, I would go towards a spherical earth. But that picture I just sent you kind of adds to why some of the narratives of the flat earth concept and I'm not denying it. I've studied it all, I find it all very compelling. Okay. The flat earthers can tell me, well, water seeks its level. How does water stay on a curve? My best answer for that is because God wants it that way. How do we stay on if it's a spinning ball going 1,000 miles an hour, how can we stay rooted? How do the clouds, everything stays in unison and orchestration? Because God wants it that way. What is the true shape of the earth? I don't know yet, but I'm coming to a time in history that I will be able to go up and
Absolutely.
see for
Yes.
myself.
I will pick you up in my spaceship. I'm driving. We will go look.
And
Okay,
I've
Razor?
told George, I've told a buddy of mine that I said, you and I could go up. We could take all sorts of pictures, come back down and tell people what we just seen. And you know what? They'd still tell us we were both full.
Yeah, I
of
know. I
it.
know.
I mean, but get this.
What about the firmament though, Razor? Do you believe there's
Okay, I went down that rabbit hole too. I figured the best, because I will not let anyone use biblical scripture to definitively say what God says the shape of the earth is. Point made. They use figurative language and try to turn it literal just to prove their point. Now this goes for flat earthers or sphere. Okay, I won't let neither one of
I
them.
agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay, God sits on the circle of the earth. That don't mean it's a sphere.
Right, it's a circle.
Okay. Okay. He sits on his throne with the earth as a footstool. Visual imprints in our brain. A footstool with the angels, the four corners of the earth. We see a footstool. It's got four legs. It's flat. He puts his feet on it, and we immediately, because we've been bombarded with all this, that's flat earth. Okay.
I wish I was prepared for this conversation. Go ahead. No, did you, because I would have had supporting video. Did you see the rocket, independent rocket that went up 73 miles and poof, it's stuck in the firmament and then popped out. And then they saw the moon where it shouldn't have been in the camera.
I saw it.
George, I told you, I've seen it all.
Didn't explode.
This is where the conversation always goes with me, because I'll start out, say I've watched all the information, I've seen it, there's nothing you can present to me that I haven't seen, and I say this, I said, and then they, in the midst of the conversation, they literally turn into used car salesmen for flat earth.
Hey, everything's okay? Remark.
And but here's the firmament, the answer to the firmament. I said, okay, if we're going to use biblical scripture, so to speak, the best version of biblical scripture is Hebrew, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. I went and looked up the Hebrew translation for firmament, because the flat earth always wants to say it's like a terrarium. I even seen one guy wants to say that there's a dome under the flat earth. I'm like, I never heard that before. I've heard some flat earthers try to say that Australia doesn't even exist. I said, well, somebody better tell those people in Australia, because I think they might want to know that their continent don't exist. But here's the thing, the biblical translation for firmament in Hebrew is cosmos and expanse. Now, I'm not saying there isn't something up there, but I do not prescribe, let's say, to a hard shell. If I don't think I've seen that thing.
Not hard. Not hard.
Yeah, I've seen that thing with the rocket. As far as I know, it could have just exploded due to altitude or come apart like the Challenger rocket. Who knows? I don't know. But somebody's taking that. Do I believe we went to the moon? No. See, that's where flat earthers try to get a common ground with me. NASA lies. Okay, yeah, I get it. NASA's lied to us. They've, our government's lied to us. I'm down with all that. I've watched it. I've been down all them rabbit holes. And there were some people that said they found a piece of that landed on the ground somewhere near them, or they found it on the ground in Israel. And then there's other people that say they go to the edge where the firmament supposedly comes to the ice wall, and there's little pieces of it.
Operation Fishbowl, Razor?
Yeah, I mean, if we run down the premise of that government has lied to us about this, that, and the other thing, and basically the flat earthers are trying to separate themselves from NASA and the lies and the government, but they're still just using somebody else's story narrative, and none of us can really prove it, which also comes back to, we'll be able to go up and see for
We'll
ourselves.
find out soon.
And
Tracy,
you know
how
what?
about you, buddy? Now you got to say, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
You asked the question.
Man, I'm kind of torn. I mean, I never knew about flat Earth until I started, this whole going down the rabbit hole thing. And I will say they do have compelling evidence from the flat
and
Earth side.
yeah,
I'm
that's
kind of,
where,
And listen,
kinda
we all
like you,
started
Razor.
from the same place. We all started with the lie
Yeah.
at his birth,
yes,
right? That we learned in school. We
Yes.
hung a globe over our crib. We've been
Yeah.
looking at the damn thing since we were born, right?
Yeah.
And that's on purpose. In our kindergarten class, we got a globe at the teacher's desk.
Yeah.
Every classroom. So we all started in the same place. We can agree
Yeah.
on that.
Remember when they had CD-ROMs and we were all burning stuff to the CD-ROMs, music files, whatever. That's kind of how I'll look at it. When we were born, we had a clear CD-ROM.
That's what I say all the
And
time.
all of a
We have
sudden they start
blank hard
burning
drive.
this
Yep.
information, this false crap.
Absolutely.
And when we get to this great awakening period, we are going to have to wipe it and start over the way I see it.
here's another thing I watched recently. There's this professor, he's on YouTube, and some of the titles of his videos are debunking flat Earth without using science. Okay. And okay, I'm not going to say he's right or wrong or anything, but he's gone on with some of these higher up, if you will, people who are prescribed to that narrative, and everybody's entitled to do that. But he just asked some simple, basic questions to explain. Okay, let's put it this way: there's a whole bunch of explanations of why our Earth is round and this, that, or the other thing, the stars, everything else. You would think if you want to go with another narrative, then you should have just as much compiled evidence, information to explain all these simple things, like the two things with the moon and the sun just going like this. Okay, he just asked him a simple question. Well, if I'm over here in the dark half, why can't I look over there and say there's light over there? Doesn't necessarily hold water. And here's the thing I've noticed. I take pictures of sunsets and sunrises where it goes right over my house here. Okay. One time the sun will be over here. And then as time goes by, it moves across where it comes up over the mountain range there. It moves, and it moves on the sunset. But then there's sometimes, and this just happened, the sun is setting, or no, the sun is rising, and I still got the moon almost directly overhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, that's biblical, but
Well,
there's explanations for all of that.
Yeah. Well,
we don't want to do it
and
here.
all anybody would ask, if we want to go with let's say we're in a classroom, let's say the whole round Earth thing has been kicked to the curb. Now I'm going to go to a class and you're going to teach me. How do you explain that to me? Why is it different one night that the moon is right above me and the sun's just rising, or on another time the moon's already set and the sun's already rising? How does that equate into this? How they do their little model with the styrofoam balls and all that stuff. I mean,
well, the flat earthers, they show you the sun, and in the certain, like in the summer solstice, it's going a certain track, and then it
If I
starts
took
going
a
out.
flashlight and held it over the table, you're not going to see light everywhere. You're going to see a spot.
Yeah, they say it tracks different, at
So,
certain
and it
times of the
waxes
year.
in and out the sun.
Seasons. But they still say the moon and the sun are 180 out from each other in their model.
Not necessarily. I mean, there's one, but there's been more than one moon too. But that's the whole.
Well, and we're going to see all this stuff.
Yes,
eventually.
we will. We'll know soon enough.
And here's what it is. Whatever it is, it's a distractionary debate, and it's meant to be.
That's where I disagree, because this is an issue that has people's minds enslaved in a prison. So to recognize the truth of how we've been lied to about the very essence of where we live,
Yeah.
That's not an insignificant thing at all. That's a very spiritual thing, that if you believe in your mind that God is so far away and we're hurling through space and all this chaos, and to understand the truth is not insignificant at all. I don't think it's a distraction. It's so freeing. When I learned, when my eyes were first opened to this, I felt like I was born again. I was so excited. I wanted everybody to know, because the mass level on which we've been lied to is beyond what anybody. Here's the thing: conspiracy theorists will believe anything except that. I mean, you can tell a truther. Yeah, I believe this. I believe this. You get the flat Earth. Oh God, oh no, you're crazy. Like, that's the one thing, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it is a spiritually significant thing to be let out of your prison in your mind.
Let's circle back to true discernment means a total lack of being offended, with the emphasis on objectivity. So if I even want to consider that, okay, let's say devil's advocate, that okay, they've been lying to me about everything, round Earth, the moon landing, which and it's not that I don't believe we didn't go to the moon. Before I'm going to believe that, you got to explain to me how you got past the Van Allen radiation belt in a tin can.
There are things explaining that, though, and in detail. And they have the videos, they have the communication, to the actors.
Yeah.
They broke down the video. They never went through any Van Allen belt. They never went anywhere.
I know, and that's my point. That's my point. Before you can say definitively that we went to the moon, because we have video, no, you got to explain to me how you got past the speed trap, so to speak.
Have you seen Stanley Kubrick's, the director, producer guy? Did you see his deathbed confession?
I'll go deeper. I got a retired steward from my union who was in the Army during that time period at White Sands. He didn't say he's seen something, but he said there was a lot of weird stuff going on there. And that was where Hangar 19, which you can't even find Hangar 19 anymore. It basically, there's two buildings that are just like right next to each other, and it's 18 and 20. Where'd Hangar 19 go? Nobody knows. But so there's little telltale things. Here's what shape the Earth is. It's hexagonal, it's trapezoid, and it moves in a zigzag pattern towards the sun and back. Summertime, wintertime. I haven't drawn up the report on it, the thesis, and I haven't created the styrofoam model, but there it is. Because I stand just a chance of being right or wrong as anybody else. Here's the thing. I pissed off some flat earthers, and I was being very genuine and honest. And yes, the government has lied to us, but there's the one thing the government always has, is they always have skeletons in their closets. There's always stuff that has been stored away. So here's my theory. Flat Earth, why isn't there some super duper hacker dude in the basement, flat earther to the core, that hasn't gotten into the mainframes and found that picture that the damn government is holding of flat Earth? So that's all you got to do to prove your point, Boom.
You could also end it by showing round Earth.
Yeah,
all they have to do is spin that Hubble telescope around that happens to be over the Vatican and turn that thing around and show flat on a round Earth. And you can't find a non-CGI picture of flat Earth, round Earth anywhere. And they went to the moon. You would think they would be snapping pictures by the hundreds. Look at Earth. Look at Earth. There are none. They're all CGI. Every single one. Not one authentic picture of round Earth has ever been shown to anyone anywhere. And that's a fact, because there's guys out there offering money for anybody who can show one picture. And we went to space. Come on, man.
Well, yeah, and that's why it becomes a distractionary debate or argument, whether round or flat. Because here it is, biblically, especially when somebody's trying to use scripture. Okay, and this goes for a lot of debates in the Christian community, about the rights and wrongs and what God wants you to do, what he expects you to do, and everything else. And there will come a time when they will not endure sound gospel. When they do,
Doctrine.
move to the next town, dust off your feet, no longer cast pearls before swine. And your job you're supposed to do as a believer is the Great Commission. Go forth and make disciples of all nations. You can't do that while you're over here trying to convince somebody what if it's round, flat, square, anything.
Listen, God has his people everywhere doing everything he needs to be done. And nothing is outside the scope of his ability. He uses a donkey. He can use us idiots. He can use anything, anyone. We all know that we're very close to finding out a lot. And
I mean, that picture I sent you of the bigger white globe with the piece of what
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if that's the real truth. I mean, but it's another piece of the puzzle, tidbit of information, breadcrumb, if you will.
I'm gonna try to share that picture below the video, just so people can see what you're talking about. Yeah. But I think we need to probably stop at this point. We're at the hour mark, and we've had a lot of good topics, a lot of good discussions.
Tracy, I'd like to pray before we close it out, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heavenly Father, we come before you, God, with amazing awe, in awe of who you are and what you can do with the tools you have given us and how you use us. It's just amazing that you've allowed us to be part of this, that you use us in this way. And I just pray, Father, that your will be done. All this discussion across the board, all of it, Lord, it could just be nonsense to you, but we know that you're at work. We know there's big changes coming and that we are in the middle of it. And Lord, just help us to hear your voice, your still small voice in the big storm that's about to come. Help us to stay calm. Help us to stay measured. Use us, Father, to help others understand and comprehend what's going to be in a confusing time for many. And Lord, we just thank you so much for lifting the veil over our eyes. And as you see, as the world sees, we don't agree on everything, but we do agree on this. You are our Father in heaven. You are the creator. You're the great I am. And Lord, that you're in control of everything that goes on. So just help us to follow you, be obedient to your calling, whatever that is for each one of us. And Lord, that you would just use us in a mighty way in this time. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I will leave everyone's information below the video. Once the video is over, if you guys can just hold on, I'll pause the video, but I'll have everyone's location where you can find each and every one of us. Thank you so much, guys. This is the first one of these we've done. I think we hit on some really good topics and some good subject line. Didn't really mean to bring up the flat Earth, but hey, it was pretty.
I'll get you back for that one, Tracy.
Yeah, but I appreciate it, guys, and we will do this again. We'll have some periodic check-ins on current events as Patriots, brothers and sisters, and I appreciate everyone here. And we will see you guys next time.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Take care. Good night.